good, people? It's your boy, the host with the most. Before we start today's video, first I like to tell you the things that we're going to be talking about in today's video. Today, we're going to be talking about the Los Angeles Clippers going on this huge win streak. How everyone's no longer saying it's not going to work with the Los Angeles Clippers. We're also going to be talking about Anthony Edwards and his situation with an Instagram model, as well as we're going to be talking about Ryan Clark, Kimberly Martin, and Cam Newton. All right, so that's what's going to be on the docket that we're going to be talking about today. Before we begin, I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if I don't hear or see from you guys next week. Without further ado, let's get into today's topic. The first line that we're going to be talking about on the docket today is the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, the Los Angeles Clippers, since the addition of James Harden, they struggled. They was in Struggleville. A lot of people was saying when they made that trade that they gave up too much. This trade was not going to work. This, that, and the third. You know, a lot of basketball analysts, ex-athletes, podcasters, content creators, social media influencers, including your boy, I even said that this was not going to work. Seems like they have turned things around. I think they're on an 8-game winning streak. And, first and foremost, I think a lot of people are not giving a lot of props and kudos and respect where respect is due. Ty Lue has really, controlled this roster from top to bottom. Ty Lue should get all of the credit for why this is working so far, and even though this is a small sample size. Also like to give props and credit where it's due to Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook could have, gotten upset, got offended, got on a tirade, this, that, and the third. Going to the bench. I'm pretty sure Ty Lue asked, could he come off the bench? Well, I'm pretty sure Ty Lue talked to him about the possibilities of coming off the bench. And Russell Westbrook said, yeah, sure. Now, me going in when they did this trade, I was the first one to tell you guys this thing was not going to work. And comparing this roster now is like going in your closet and finding 4 left shoes. None of them are alike. They're all in different colors, and they are completely useless if you don't find the right shoe. All right, you just got 4 left shoes, and there's nothing for you to do with those left shoes unless you want to except throw them away. And that's what I basically compared the Los Angeles Clippers. When you talk about Russell Westbrook, when you talk about James Harden, when you talk about Paul George, and when you talk about Kawhi Leonard, they're pretty much the similar style type of player. Now, I felt like out of those 4, Kawhi Leonard could possibly, do other things besides demand the ball so much. And he can also play off the ball. Paul George, to a certain extent, can do that as well. But when you look at James Harden and Russell Westbrook, they desperately seek and suit. They need the ball in order for them to be efficient. Now, ever since they gotten James Harden, it was rough at first, and now they're going on an 8-9 game winning streak. And now you hear a lot of people talking about, oh, where are all those people that say that this was not going to work? The same people when this was rumored to happen. The same people that are criticizing people who still think this is not going to happen, now all of a sudden have done an about face and flipped sides and said, you know what, yeah, I was first and foremost on the front line saying this was going to work. All right, where are the rest of you guys? Why are you guys no longer talking about it no more? To me, I still feel, the 8-game winning streak is a small sample size to determine this is working. And to be frank, when they were losing, that too was a small sample size to determine that it wasn't going to work. I said this was not going to work from the start before they started playing their first game, because sooner rather than later, all right, We are creatures of habit, and Paul George is going to be Paul George sooner rather than later. Kawhi Leonard similar. James Harden similar, as well as Russell Westbrook. Eventually, they're going to be their natural selves, and when the games are when it's the second half of the season and there's not a lot of games up front, and you don't have a lot of time to try to try to make it work, and you feel like you're still the man, and you feel like you're the reason why we're struggling, so you have to do more. Eventually, they're going to be creatures of habit, and they're going to return back, return to what they were, to what they are, and they're going to start depending on their talent to pull this team that is not producing very well. And I feel like this is going to happen with the Los Angeles Clippers sooner rather than later. And it's not the fact that it's not because of that fact. I feel like there's still 4 left shoes. All right. And basketball, believe it or not, is a team sport. And everyone has to know their role and respect their role. I think when you talk about those 4 guys right there, I think they're willing to do other things to be productive on the team. But when the rubber meets the road, they're going to return to their natural habitat. They're going to return to their natural selves. And they're going to say, well, back in the day, I used to carry teams to the promised land. I can still do that today. All right. Ego and creatures of habit is going to be the focal point on why these guys are going to go back to their natural selves. And Kawhi Leonard feels like he could take a team to the promised land. Paul George feel like he can take a team to the promised land. James Harden feel like he can take a team to the promised land. Even Russell Westbrook, even coming off the bench, he's probably going to say, well, I've been doing very well and I have sacrificed the most, so I want to return to the starting 5, and maybe one of those other guys should go to the bench or play all 4 of us together. And that's where Ty Lue is going to have to really keep them grinding and keep them looking at the bigger picture. And I feel like he will, but eventually I still don't think that this is going to work. I really don't. I think they're going to be, and I said this, I think they're going to be a very competitive team, but I just don't depend on this team I don't think this team is going to win a championship. I think they're going to get close, but they're not going to be able to win a championship. Either, I just feel that. I still feel that. But I do feel, but I do want to give them credit. It has worked thus far, but the NBA is a marathon. It's not a track meet. It's not a sprint event. Okay, so I know a lot of people are hyped that that they gone on this winning streak, and I know there's a lot of people that are fans of these players as well as Clipper Nation that want to stick it to us, saying, see, y'all said it wasn't going to work, but now look at it, it's working now. Okay, that's fine and dandy, but I still don't think this is going to work at the end of the day. All right, so that's my 2 cents on that particular topic. We're going to move on to the next topic. The next topic is, the next topic is Anthony Edwards. Now, Anthony Edwards has found himself in a unique situation, and I remember, I don't know if it was a year ago or 2 years ago, and I think it happened around the summer, and I forgot the story about an NBA player, pregnating an Instagram model or a woman. I forgot how the story was. And I remember Anthony Edwards was, flexing and saying, hey, that's not going to happen to me. The only woman in my life that's going to get my money is his poodle, or whatever the case may be. It was like a little troll video. And I think he had a girlfriend at the time. He had a completely different woman at the time. All right. So, good for Anthony Edwards, who's saying that he's not going to let lust control or dictate his finances. He's not just going to, have relationships with women and have unprotected relationships with a woman, if you know what I mean. And it seems like he had his head in the right mind and in the right space, and good for him. And he was tooting his own horn. Well, this article, or this report, is floating around that Anthony Edwards did in fact get one of these Instagram model women pregnant, and he text messaged her that she should delete the baby, and he was willing to give her $100K. Now, the woman went on saying that she done did that one time before, and it just didn't feel right. And, a lot of people feel like she was, just playing on his heartstrings and trying to finesse him and things of that nature. Now, someone rounded it off and said if she took the $100K and delete a life by accepting the $100K, she would be getting like close to like $20K a month, I believe the guy said, for the next 18 years, which is a lot of money. But I feel like there's not a dollar sign in the world when it comes to deleting a life. I'm sorry, it just is. If it was, I'm pretty sure this was not planned, and it just sort of happened. It didn't just sort of happen. It happened due to the fact that, when you let your little head take over the thinking of your big head, this happens. Okay. And a lot of people are roasting at Anthony Edwards because that did not age well when he did that viral clip a couple of summers ago, and now he finds himself in the same situation that other NBA athlete found himself in a couple of summers ago. Now he finds himself in that situation, and makes it worse. He's text messaging this girl and asking her to, delete a life, and he's willing to give her $100K. I don't know if that's criminally, like that's a crime. I don't know, the justice system, and that, that's kind of, I have to look at you a different way, when you're, giving a woman ultimatum like that. Now, he later on apologized and said it was the heat of the moment. He was not thinking clearly. Of course, you was not thinking clearly. You didn't even think clearly, from the start of this relationship with this Instagram model. But that's neither here nor there. All right. And he wishes the public to keep their relationship and their talks private, their conversations private. Okay, well, the cat's out of the bag. We all know what you said. We saw the text messages. But it's public now. So I don't know how you can, unsqueeze the toothpaste. The toothpaste is already out the tube. All right. And to me, I have to look at Anthony Edwards, in a different light. Okay. I know a lot of people are going to say he's young, dumb, and full of what. But to me, when you make decisions that could change your life, you have to deal with the consequences. And it would have been better if Anthony Edwards would have, instead of text messaging her that he's going to give her $100K to delete a life, he should have just gave her 100K to for his responsibilities and his obligations to this unexpected child, because this child did not, a lot of people are looking at the Instagram model. A lot of people were talking for and against the Instagram model. I forgot her name, Paige or whatever her name is, and it's not really important. And a lot of people are, are for and against Anthony Edwards and his decision, and making excuses for him and things of that nature. They got fans, okay? But I don't hear a lot of people talking about this child. No one is in the corner for this child. This child did not ask for this. This child did not ask to be a part of this. And when you create life, there are responsibilities and obligations when you do that. It's her body, her choice. As far as keeping the child, there's not a man on this planet that can tell a woman what to do as far as deleting a life, because it's her decision. It's not your decision. All right. It was your decision to go to CVS, Walgreens, get you some protection. That was your decision. All right. But when you go raw dog, you have to, when you go raw dog and you're reckless, you have to take the responsibilities that come with that and the obligations that come with that. So, I'm still a fan of Anthony Edwards, but I look at him differently. And I'm pretty sure that, he's got 18 years. I mean, he has nothing to prove to me. He has nothing really to prove to none of us. But I feel like ultimately Anthony Edwards is going to come to the front and just co-parent this child, welcome this child with open arms. And when this child is old enough, this child is going to hear about this. And that's what a lot of people don't get. All right? These text messages and social media, it's going to last forever as long as we have the internet and screenshots, some people are going to put these text messages in the cloud. And when this child grows up, like 13, 14, 15 years old, I hope it's a lot later in their life, somebody's going to bring this up to this child's attention. Maybe it's someone in his family, maybe it's someone in her family, maybe it's just when they go to school, it's going to be kids in there. Kids be kids, okay? It's just a bad look for Anthony Edwards, and I'm not going to condemn him for the rest of his life. Obviously, he sees that he made a mistake. Okay? Obviously, he sees he made a mistake. All right? So I wish the best to Anthony Edwards. I wish the best for this. I think her name is Paige something. I forgot her name. I wish the best for her, but I really wish the best for this child. Okay? I'm more in the corner of the child than Anthony Edwards in this Instagram model. Okay? I can care less for either one of them. I'm more for the child. All right? Moving on. We're going to move on to the next order of business. So, Kimberly Martin, she's an ESPN analyst or influencer or reporter. I don't know how they define themselves now at these car wash shows. She's normally on Get Up with Greenberg, but she's always on First Take, and she basically debates against Stephen A. Smith or whoever they have at that particular time. I really see Kimberly Martin more when Stephen A. Smith is not there. He is his day off or whatever, or I see her more when it's not the three of them. And when I mean the three of them, Shannon Sharpe, Stephen A. Smith, and Molly. Okay, she's really part of the B crew of First Take, but I see her more on on Get Up. Okay, so they talk about different stuff, and they were talking about Cam Newton on his own YouTube channel. Go subscribe to Cam Newton's YouTube channel. It's entertaining and it's different. He looks at things from a different perspective, and that's fine. Okay, it's not really all a sports channel. Okay, that's the point I'm trying to make. All right, so he has this podcast or this show called Funky Friday. I don't know. Anyway, he was talking about the NFL, and he was talking about difference makers and game managers, and he named off a couple of quarterbacks that are not difference makers. They're game managers. They just know how to manage the game of football. And basically he's saying a game manager doesn't take a lot of risk. He just plays within the system, and his mindset is different. His mindset is don't do nothing that could potentially F this game up, where they get it, where they lose the game. So he's placed in a position where he's not going to take a lot of chances. He's not going to take a lot of risks down the field. He's a game manager. A difference maker believes in their ability, and take risk and take chances. And I believe Cam Newton thinks like, I think his terminology and his definition is Cam Newton feels like he is a difference maker, and these new cats like Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott are game managers. Okay? No matter what you think about his take, if you're for or against it, it's still a take. Do I believe there's a such thing as a difference maker in game managers? Yeah, I believe that. Do you feel like, do I feel Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott are, is being a game manager bad? No, not necessarily. I think out of the names he mentioned, I feel like Dak Prescott, he teeters on either being a difference maker or game manager. Okay, but one or the other is not bad. Okay, either way, you could be very successful, make a lot of money being a game manager or a difference maker. Okay, and I don't think, when I look at the clip, I don't think Cam Newton was coming from the perspective of, well, since they're not difference makers, they shouldn't be paid the same, or they shouldn't, get all the success of why the team is winning. Okay, I don't think Cam Newton was coming from that perspective. I just think that's his definition, and I kind of co-sign to it to a certain extent. As far as the name go, the only person I questioned, and it kind of was puzzling to me, was Dak Prescott. But hey, if he feels like he's a game manager, I'm not going to sit up here and argue about it. It is what it is. That's his opinion. All right. So when this got back to Kimberly Martin, and she responded to Cam Newton's opinion, the first thing comes uttering out of her mouth is, last time I checked, Cam Newton is not even in the NFL no more. Okay? Cam Newton is not even on the NFL team. Like, what does that have to do with his commentary or his opinion? And people could use that same narrative, that same narrow-minded narrative Kimberly Martin used on Cam Newton. People can apply that to you, Kimberly Martin. They can say, well, why are you talking about the NFL? Why are you talking about the NBA? Okay, you're just a reporter. You never played on the field, so why should we take your takes very seriously? Okay, so I tell people this all the time: be careful when you start to tell people what they can and cannot say. Okay. So just be careful of that. All right. So that's the first take, she has. She really didn't attack his take, and she was basically bashing him as well as bashing, everyone has haters, particularly on social media. And she's talking about and describing these guys that hate on her, talking about she should just stay in the kitchen. That's narrow-minded thinking as well. And she doesn't know what she's talking about. That's narrow-minded thinking as well. I'm not going to condone that as well. And yada, yada, yada. Okay? She really didn't address the comments of Cam Newton. She just basically talked about Cam Newton's outfit, and last time she checked, Cam Newton is not on the NFL roster, so that means that we shouldn't take him seriously. We shouldn't take his take seriously. And if we're going to start doing that, people, then the thing that you don't like from your haters, when your haters say, you don't know what you're talking about, you should just go to the kitchen, we should take that, okay? So I be careful when you start telling people they don't know what they're talking about. They need to go to the kitchen. They need to do this. They're not playing the games. You're not on the NFL roster. Just be careful when you go down that dark road. Okay, that's all I would say to Kimberly Martin. I think they call her Kmart. Her nickname is Kmart on ESPN. We'll just do that. Okay. So, one of ESPN her fellow colleague, Ryan Clark, he was on the Pivot podcast, and basically he destroyed Kmart opinion about Cam Newton, and he pretty much orchestrated it, finessed it very well. And he basically echoed the same sentiments I was saying just a few minutes ago. How, what does his outfit or him not being on the NFL roster has anything to do with him, his opinion about certain quarterbacks in the NFL and how he's labeling certain quarterbacks in the NFL as game managers and difference makers. And he eloquently, talked about Cam Newton's career in collegiate football as far as the National Football League. He also talked about there were quarterbacks that were game managers that were very successful, made a lot of money in the National Football League, and had long-standing careers in the National Football League. And he named a few. He also named difference makers, and basically saying, like, look, it doesn't matter if you are a difference maker or you're a game manager. You can be successful in either of those categories. All right? And there's no shame of being a difference maker or a game manager. Okay, he list off a couple of names. I had the names he mentioned in my membrane. I can't think of. There's one particular quarterback who had a long, outstanding career in the National Football League. He started, he was very successful with the Washington Redskins. They kept giving him 1-year contracts after 1-year contracts. Then he signed a big contract with the Minnesota Vikings at one point, and was doing well with Minnesota. Okay, I forgot the guy's name. I had it in my head when I started this episode. I do apologize, but you get my drift and you get my point. I mean, Ryan Clark just destroyed her argument and destroyed her opinions about Cam Newton and her take on Cam Newton, and even went further to explain difference makers and game managers. So he did all that in one fell swoop. And I give Ryan Clark his flowers. I give him his props. Now, if you've been following my channel, you guys know about Ryan Clark and the Pivot Podcast versus I Am Athlete, and the turmoil there, and this, that, and the third. And I felt like the Pivot Podcast and I Am Athlete didn't handle that situation gracefully. And Brandon Marshall and Ryan Clark are Ryan Clark is like the leader of the Pivot Podcast. Brandon Marshall, of course, he's the face of I Am Athlete. And I just didn't think they handled it very well. There's blame to be spread on both of those camps, okay? And I talked about it, but I like Ryan Clark as a person. He was very successful in the National Football League. Is an incredible analyst for ESPN, okay? Bright, big future with ESPN, as well as he's on his own with the Pivot Podcast. You know, someone told me that the Pivot Podcast numbers are surpassing the I Am Athlete podcast numbers. I don't know if that's true or not, but you know, other than the beef, I just felt like Ryan Clark and Brandon Marshall could have handled that better. Other than that, Ryan Clark has been A+ all the way. And Ryan Clark, I have a lot of respect for Ryan Clark. And notice how when he just destroyed that take of Kmart, she never rebutted or even talked about it. Okay? And a lot of people calling her the next Malika Andrews. I forgot the girl that everyone at ESPN that no one likes. To me, I think I butchered her last name, but it doesn't really matter. I don't have an issue with her. She does bash a lot of athletes, and I can understand why people think that she really bashes black athletes. And how come she doesn't have any smoke for Josh, the kid for the Oklahoma City Thunder? I think his name is Josh Gillian, whatever his name is. I think I butchered his last name as well, but it really doesn't matter. You guys know I butcher people's names on a constant, consistent basis, all right? If you don't know, you know now, all right? So I'm pretty sure someone's going to kill me in the comment sections, but that's neither here nor there. I feel like Kmart, she felt like that was her moment, and that was going to be the moment that's going to when people mention her, people are going to have a flashback, and they're going to think about this take she had on Cam Newton. And look, I know, and I kind of want to side with her, not her take, but kind of want to side with her. Look, you're trying to get in where you can fit in. You just recently heard ESPN laid off all these people, and they have done it before, and they possibly could do it again. So you want to be on the other side of the pillow with ESPN, all right? So you want to, you want to start getting popular because of your takes, your controversial takes, your popular takes, all right? Your galvanizing takes, because if you got a lot of motion, particularly on social media, people, and if you're popular, people will tell ESPN to keep you. But if ESPN lets you go, you want to do your own thing. You want to go independent, like Jason Whitlock, Marcellus Wiley, Stephen A. Smith, other analysts. If you have to go independent, at least you got a name for yourself, and I get it, Kimberly Martin, have no disrespect for Kimberly Martin, no slander for Kimberly Martin, but to me, I just felt like that was a bad take, and I understand she's trying to be the brightest light in the room with the biggest take, and the guys around her hammering her up, going, like seals, go, oh, you, way to go, Kimberly, you got him, all that crap. Trying to hype her up. Look, so in a way, I don't want to bash Kimberly Martin. And I understand where she was coming from. Hey, I got to say something controversial. That's a hot take, a hot topic. I got to get some motion in the ocean, particularly on social media. I want people to recognize me, particularly because I'm competing for my next position and my next job, in turn getting my next paycheck, okay? So, yeah, I see where the angle she was trying to push, but, there's a time and place for everything. I think that right there, I think she should have been a little bit more clever. Stop talking about the guy's outfit. Stop talking about the guy he's still not in the NFL, and come with a take that's popping, okay? But yeah, but I understand. I feel her. She's trying to get into where she can. She's trying to get into where she can fit in. I get her. All right. So I get it. Well, I don't. Yeah, I get what she was trying to do. All right. So yeah, that's it on that take. Coming down to the end of the road. First, I'd like to thank everyone out there who has been subscribing to Just My Opinion podcast. The numbers are through the roof. I haven't had a low viewed video or live stream in about 3 months. I'd like to thank everyone out there that's been very supportive to the channel, that has subscribed, that hit the like button, that shares my video to their friends, family, and followers. I'd like to thank everyone that comments in the comment section. I try to stay active in the comment section, but unfortunately, when you're trying to juggle 3 YouTube channels as well as your real life, I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I skim through y'all comments. I read your comments, and that's it. Now, I think next year is gonna be different for me. I feel like, and I feel a lot of people know this about me. Like, if they are trolling or if they say something very negative towards me, they know they're going to get a response from me. And I've been pretty consistent and pretty good in just, letting people have their opinion. Just let them have their opinion. If they think that I don't know what I'm talking about, or if they talk about my facts, or they try to straighten me in the comment section, just let them do that, okay? I'm not right all the time, but I think my percentage on being right is like 80%, which is pretty high. And when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I let you guys know. I'll be the first guy to tell you that I'm wrong. I'm still holding on my Clipper take. I'm not changing for no one, not even for an 8-game winning streak, okay? So, but yeah, I really do appreciate everyone subscribing, commenting, liking, sharing, doing whatever you got to do. I really do appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. I also like to thank the day ones. When I started this YouTube channel, I wanted to do something different, talk about current events and news and things of that nature. And I did it for a while, for a little bit, and then I went into a whole different perspective of sport. I want to just do a sports channel. Some of you guys came along with the ride. A lot of you guys were not feeling it when y'all subscribed earlier, saying that you want me to get back to the more cultural topics and things of that nature. For those who stayed, I really do appreciate that. For those who left, I'm sorry. I just feel like sometimes you got to go where the numbers take you, and the numbers say that this should be a sports channel, and that's what I've been making it into, a sports channel. I really appreciate the people that not only subscribe to this channel, but I know there's people that are subscribed to me on my other channels that that notice that I have a sports channel. I really do appreciate people that's double dipping and subscribing to me on all three of my platforms. I really do appreciate that. And I like to wish everyone a happy holiday. Next week is Christmas Eve, then Christmas Day, and then I think Christmas Day is on Monday, so we might get we should get a New Year's Eve or New Year's Day in the same week. All right, so I'm just letting you guys know that unless there's something that really breaks that I have to talk about, I'm gonna come up with a video. But if you don't hear from me, I just want to wish everyone a happy holiday. That's basically what this whole tandem was I was getting into. And I'll see you guys next year. I'll definitely see you guys on next year. I will still do videos on my other 3 channels. The other 3 channels are in the description. See you guys. Happy holidays. Peace.